Dropped out like 10th grade, started getting in the streets, started getting locked up, selling drugs. You know, I'm using, going to jail, using, going to jail, using, going to jail. And I did that my whole life. I wasted my whole life with these drugs, you know, getting high, gambling. I went all the way to like the 11th grade, dropped out, and started acting like a fool. You know what I mean, hanging out, basically selling drugs. I would sell drugs, but I didn't mess with them. But then, you know, you be around long enough, one day you picked it up and tried it, you know what I mean? And I was going for that ride. We've been together ever since, you know, the heroin thing, you know. Still like shooting dice and all that, you know, prison thing I done all that, and crazy. I just be trying to keep moving, trying to do the right thing.
Don't be mad at me when I take all your money.
I'll reach in my pocket, take some of the winning money, and just go buy 2 sets of dice. Said, we're gonna finish this. You know, then I lose everything. The next day, I was fortunate, it was allowance time. Got my allowance, a little extra couple dollars, lunch money. I took all that and put it into gambling. I just kept making all the wrong decisions. Most addicts think they got a hold of their addiction, like it's a on and off switch that we can control. And it's not like that. My miracle addiction started in prison by, I guess, being around older guys that I knew, grew up with on the streets.
Gambling is often called the hidden addiction. It's not talked about, it's not seen. You don't test for it with blood or urine, so it goes unnoticed. The individuals we'll see today have the courage and the honesty to talk about how gambling has affected their lives and their recoveries, how it becomes a cycle of one addictive behavior after another, with one fueling another.
For a number of years, people have noticed that there's obviously a higher amount of substance abuse associated with gambling. And in particular, it seems to be more in opiate treatment programs. So methadone programs, places where they use buprenorphine or Suboxone. But in particular, methadone programs seem to have high rates where even 50% of the patients may have at least problematic gambling. So it's really important for programs to kind of reassess this periodically and find ways to build it into the other things that they're talking to people about.
What I'd just like to ask you first is tell me a little bit about what gambling is like and what that's about in the community.
You walk 2 blocks, you're gonna find a dice game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You walk 2.5 blocks, you're gonna find a drug corner.
Yeah.
And like they say, when you try to reverse all that to become a better person, and that old saying they use in the rooms about you change the people, places, and things. Yeah. The things you can change, but the people, it's everywhere you go. So you can't escape it.
No.
When I go to the bus stop, they shoot dice. It's every day. So we shoot dice when the bus coming. So it's been days where I ain't shot and lost my money where I couldn't even catch the bus to get down to the program, because I live up in near Pimlico Racetrack. That's a nice little ways to come down here to go to the program. So whereas though you combat a heroin problem, well, we put like this, you dealing with a heroin problem, and now you got a gambling problem. I like playing cards. Yeah. Playing cards. First, you know, you start out by pitching quarters, nickels, and start playing cards. Then start getting, you know what I mean, between the drugs and the gambling, I left the gambling alone and started messing with the drugs, you know. And then I came back to the gambling all over again. It's come out.
Keep looking at gambling like it's okay because it's a legal form with some of them that you're not being specific about, like the craps and stuff like that. So they making that like it's okay. But like we always mention it's just a dangerous trade.
Gambling is this way of life to get by, to get through, to provide the hope, to be a solution where there don't seem to be any other solutions. How do you see those being connected? The heroin addiction and the gambling?
They do go hand in hand, but it's just havoc with the gambling.
Much worse, ain't it though? Because you know what I mean. And then you gotta look at this too. They making stuff so legal now. Like especially them tell you, I got the way through these scratch offs, and it just seems though. I don't know what they do. They let you win a couple times. I'm serious. You might win $2 here, $5 there. And I'll be like, yeah. And you wind up spending the same money back again, you lose. So you're like, all right. I had an all right day. You know what I mean? But you done lost your money. Then you go back again, you do the same thing over and over and over. I mean, it's legal. And then when they set that casino in the middle of the ghetto, that was one of the worst things they could have did. You know what I mean?
I don't care how you look at it. You know, is real dangerous. You don't know when it's gonna kick off. The same way with the drugs. You know, whether it become you know a crime activity or an overdose. You know, the minute you put it in you gone. Or the minute you get it to go put it in you, somebody robbing you, and most of the time they gonna kill you.
You know how they say no to drugs?
Yeah.
I say no to all of it. Because one leads to the other one leads to another one. So all the outcomes gonna be negative. It's gonna be the same, you know, so no matter how what positivity you can think of, it's gonna all end up the same way. We sitting here battling, not just a drug problem, you can be sitting up here battling a gambling problem too.
Because you caught in the cycle, which become that revolving door.
The drug problems can be obvious, the gambling problems not so much, but when we realize they're all connected and the stories are intertwined,
About 13.
that's what's really powerful. Do you ever know anybody who got hurt or killed?
Yeah.
My son was a result of a bad dice game that made the wrong turn, but he wasn't a participant in the game. You know, somebody lost their money. Now they want to draw weapons. And it don't be you go back home and get your weapon, because that person might be gone by the time you get back, so they bring it with him.
Yeah.
You know, the minute you lose it, you know, they drawing their weapons out, and when they drew the weapons out, before you know it, 2 rounds go off and shot the little girl and my son.
I'm so sorry.
You know, and I thought that would at least stop me. It didn't stop me. It only stopped my thinking not to shoot dice no more. But like I said, as soon as I get out, I'm doing the same thing that he got killed from, you know?
You know, everybody standing there looking like, man, they're crazy. So when he went to let me take my chain, he put the gun on my neck. I'm like, all right. He took it off, took the money, but I said, I know where he be at. Oh my God, I was mad and crazy at the same time. Like, yeah, I know where he be at. We go around that way he be at, but when we get around there, he already dead. Yeah. Somebody done shot him, I got my chain back.
You done lost it in a split second, and you don't have no satisfaction. So now, you don't know what's running in your mind. Should I go get the next thing? It ain't gonna be a $10, it might be a gun.
And how do you think gambling is connected to just, being, not having money, feeling like you won't be able to get a job? You know, how's it connected to all the issues that folks are dealing with?
Sometimes that be the only way. You know, I know it's a guy, he shoot dice, and that's, he know if he don't win, he not gonna eat. You know, so some people feel as though they don't have no alternative but to choose that road.
Each addiction with gambling and narcotics, you're some type of fiend. With the gambling, you're a hope fiend.
Right.
You know, you can't separate none of them.
Gambling is the hope. Gambling is my way out of my drug addiction, my history of incarceration, my history of poverty. It may be the only way out, especially if I've got a history of substance use, a history of poverty, and a felony conviction. What else is going to be life-changing? Now, when you've been, you know, in the program and in treatment, do anybody talk to you about gambling and gambling could be a problem?
And here, no, they just worry about the drug that got us here.
And the gambling right there, but they don't never touch your hand, never say nothing about no
Right.
gambling.
Places like what he just mentioned, you touch everything. Social service income, all that
They
kind
just
of
don't get in
crap.
depth with it because to them, like I said, it's not as worse as which got you there, behavior modification. Like, you know, that's what they both basically focused on, you know. But they don't even know that gambling is worse. 13.
We really hope that drug treatment programs will address kind of the people that clearly have a significant gambling addiction, but also just talk to people about how, as you're now not using the heroin, and how do you do other things in your life, and how do you kind of prevent something like, you know, what starts out as, you know, fairly innocent, just buying lottery tickets, from turning into more of a problem. So how to making, you know, gambling, which is ubiquitous in our culture, how to do that healthily and not have it turn into more of a problem. So we really hope the programs can kind of address both the actual gambling addiction, but also just gambling and how that can fit into your life and recovery from the heroin use.
But hearing somebody who's been through it say this can be a worse problem because you can go through so much more money, you can create so much more damage, it is life-threatening, people get killed because of this addiction, that means something. It's not theoretical, it's not just something I've heard, it's what really happens in people's lives.
If I can help one person, I'll be happy with that, you know.
If I could just get their attention, that's a good start for me right there.
But like she
You
said, it's
know?
best using somebody that they can relate to.
This is going to
you
get
know.
people's attention much more than anything I can
Yeah.
ever say. So
Right.
this can be as devastating, as life-threatening as the other issues, as depression, as serious mental illness, as opiate addiction, things that we see as epidemic. The gambling can be just as big an epidemic, but it's quiet. It's unheard. It doesn't have its own voice yet. And they were willing to give this a voice. The challenge for clinicians is to learn this new culture of gambling, learn this new language of gambling, and make it a part of every conversation you have with clients, because it's in their lives.